Namaskar, I'm Shivani Jha and I welcome you all to our live and interactive session. You are watching this session on PM eVidya channels 1 to 12 and also on our official YouTube handle, that is NCERT official. Well, let me apprise you all for this 1.5 hour. We have our special session for the teachers of KVS. जी हाँ, KV अपने टीचर्स के लिए ये वेबिनार इनिशिएट कर रहा है और आज इस सीरीज़ का तीसरा दिन है और इस वेबिनार में हम क्या कुछ बात करेंगे उससे पहले आपको ये भी बता देते हैं कि आज से पहले जो इस सीरीज़ में 2 टॉपिक हमारे आए थे वो कौन कौन से थे। तो सबसे पहले जो हमने फर्स्ट सीरीज़ पे बात की थी वो थी जादुई पिटारा और उसके बाद सेकंड सीरीज़ हमारी थी इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ ICT एंड यस जो आज हम बात करने वाले हैं अपनी थर्ड सीरीज़ पर उसका टॉपिक है एक्शन रिसर्च। अब एक्शन रिसर्च सुनकर आपके मन में यही ख्याल आ रहा होगा कि एग्जैक्टली एक्शन रिसर्च होती क्या है। सो बेसिकली रिसर्च हम कब करते हैं, रिसर्च की ज़रूरत हमें क्यों पड़ती है, जब हमें कोई डेटा निकालने की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, जब हमें कोई शोध करना होता है तब हम रिसर्च करते हैं। लेकिन एक्शन और रिसर्च ये दोनों कैसे एक साथ रिलेट करते हैं एंड क्यों ये इतना रेलिवेंट है हम सभी के लिए जानना। और जैसा कि मैंने आप सभी को बताया कि ये वाला प्रोग्राम हमारा बेसिकली सभी टीचर्स के लिए है, तो आप सभी टीचर्स भी जो हमें देख रहे हैं आप बहुत अच्छे से केयरफुल इस पूरे सेशन को सुने और जो भी हमारे एक्सपर्ट आपको अपनी बातें बताएंगे वो ज़रूर आपके लिए भी यूज़फुल रहने वाली है। सो अगर आपके मन में कोई भी डाउट या फिर कोई भी क्वेरीज आते हैं हमारे आज के इस टॉपिक regarding, so you can also contact us via phone or our email ID. Our phone number is flashing on your screen, which is 8800440559 and our email ID is dth.class12@ciet.nic.in. and yes, जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं इस वक्त आप हमें YouTube पर लाइव भी देख रहे हैं, तो आप लाइव चैट बॉक्स के ऑप्शन में भी अपने कोई भी कमेंट्स, अपने कोई भी क्वेश्चन जल्दी से जल्दी हम तक पहुंचा सकते हैं। चलिए यहाँ पर मैंने टॉपिक के बारे में आपको बता दिया और बाकी डिटेल्स भी बता दी और अब बात करते हैं कि आज की हमारी एक्सपर्ट कौन है जो आपको एक्शन रिसर्च के बारे में बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन देने वाली है। सो उनसे आपका इंट्रोडक्शन कराएंगे। वी आर जॉइंड बाय प्रोफेसर शरद सिन्हा। मैम नमस्कार एंड वेलकम टू आवर सेशन।
Namaskar, Suprabhat and good morning.
Okay, so let me tell our viewers, ma'am is head in Department of Teacher Education at NCERT. Well, शरद मैम, मैंने अपने सभी दर्शकों को बताया कि आज हम एक्शन रिसर्च के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं एंड यस इंडीड ये हमारे NEP 2020 के साथ भी कोलैबोरेट करता है, इनिशिएट करता है। काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं जो NEP 2020 से भी रिलेट और कन्वीनियंट भी है। सो बेसिकली मेरा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इस टॉपिक के रिगार्डिंग यही आता है कि एक्शन रिसर्च होती क्या है एंड कैसे हम अपने दर्शकों को, अपने टीचर्स को इसके बारे में समझा सकते हैं।
थैंक यू शिवानी।
यस,
क्लासरूम का परिदृश्य NEP 2020 के आने के बाद बहुत अधिक बदला है
जी।
एक ऐसी पॉलिसी जो फ्यूचरिस्टिक है और उस पॉलिसी को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए हमारे केवी के टीचर्स जो हमारे साथ में जुड़े हैं वो बहुत ही प्रयत्नशील हैं और दिखाई भी दे रहे हैं उनके एफर्ट्स
जी।
लेकिन जब क्लासरूम में टीचर्स जाते हैं, आपने भी प्रश्न पूछा टीचर एज रिसर्चर,
बिल्कुल,
तो प्रश्न ये सभी के मन में आता है कि वेयर इज द टाइम टू डू द रिसर्च। वी हैव आवर ओन एक्टिविटीज, वी डू टीच, when do we do research? So for that I would like to start that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinkings we used when we created them. Classrooms are diverse, classrooms are inclusive. We have to integrate experiential learning, play-based learning and all innovative ideas in the classroom because times have changed, and so the teacher often finds himself in the middle of many issues. So every time just close your eyes, all those viewers जो भी देख रहे हैं they are KV teachers, मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूँगी कि just close your eyes and think that imagine your classroom for a moment, the persistent challenge you face, the student disengagement in the class at time, limited attention span, concept retention, classroom management, whatever it is, how long have you been trying to solve these problems, and what is that when your solution is not working. So, do not you think you have to work smarter? The same approach, whatever hard you try, you are not able to get the desired result. The children are not able to achieve the learning outcomes. So, what do? We have to think differently about the problem itself, and that is what we are going to explore here today. A different way of thinking, a different way of action, a way that transforms you from someone who has problems to someone who investigates solutions, brings out solutions. So, the gap between what is and what could be is where the action research begins in the classroom.
Okay. So, ma'am, after knowing all the information, as you earlier said about that teachers doesn't have much time, right? So, जब टीचर के पास टाइम नहीं होता है एंड अपने क्लासरूम में वो सिर्फ पढ़ाते रहते हैं, देन कैसे उनके पास टाइम आ सकता है कि वो रिसर्च वर्क भी करें? सो आई वांट टू नो अबाउट दैट.
Before Shivani, thank you. Before I speak something on that about the time, I would like to say that NEP 2020 that imagines teachers as active contributors to the classroom learning, and all the teachers are aware of that. Now, teachers must be, NEP says that the teachers must be active contributors. Show the slides, please.
Yes.
To the development of curriculum, pedagogy and assessment. And earlier, the traditional role of the teacher as a curriculum deliverer, whatever is given to him or her, delivering that into the classroom, following the prescribed methods, not innovating, and just implementing what is given to in the form of a textbook, has now changed into a curriculum innovator. The teachers are contextualizing the curriculum, investigating practice, finding out new solutions. So, the teacher, as per the policy has envisaged, is now emerging as an active change agent. So, you have asked about the time. So, lot of situations they come into the classroom.
Exactly.
And those situations I would like to just tell you about these situations in terms of the steps.
Okay.
That is, we have to conduct, there are so many situations, the children are not responding in the classroom, there is no attention, children with geography are not using the maps, the children, the teachers are not able to understand the effect of their teaching strategies. So, I would just give you a situation, a class 6 maths teacher, as you see in the screen, the students solve board problems, but cannot apply concepts to real life. The students know the simple formula of interest, P into R into T divided by 100, but given them to calculate about the EMIs, loans, interest, they are not able to apply it to the real world situation. So, what is that they are learning only theoretical? So, this comes as a problem, that why they are not able to apply the concepts which have been taught to them. So, for that the teacher have to do this, they can do the things by observation in the classroom, because in the later part I will be telling you about the action research cycle,
Yes.
how it proceeds in the classroom and how it goes on with the teaching learning activities in the classroom. It merely requires a planned approach and a focused thought about finding out the solution of the problem. So, it happens along with the classroom, and the teacher do not have to devote extra time except for planning and thinking to find out, and once the teacher thinks that I have to get the solution of this problem, then the problem, and I have to make my classroom learning classroom interaction better, the time automatically comes.
Exactly.
So, it could, like I told about the situation that students are solving the problems based on the formula given on the board, but when it comes to applying to real life situation,
yes,
they are finding it difficult. So, it could be a systematic inquiry that could be conducted by the teachers, and they could introspect about their own practice teaching, that what is going wrong, where am I faltering, and this could be action research, could be for improvement also, to enhance learning, to learn various tools, to learn various situations. The condition Kendriya Vidyalayas are all over the country. There are in the remote places also, or they are in the urban centered places also. So the problems vary. The problem of a teacher in Kerala, KV in Kerala, is different from the problem of a teacher of KV remote village in Rajasthan. So this happens, the problems, contexts are different. The context is different, the students are different. And I feel that every teacher is the expert of his or own context. The context, he or she knows the student in and out in a better way than any textbook or any book or any expert would tell.
Exactly, very true.
And I would also say that even the teachers have, Shivani, the role of teachers are continuously evolving. From a passive victim, and the teacher is emerging very powerful. Next, please.
Yes.
The teacher is emerging very powerful from a passive victim, that is curriculum saying that the curriculum doesn't work for me, it's too hard, it's too harsh. How can I complete the entire thing in the whole session? This is a story of a passive victim, but now the teacher is no more. With technology, with so many resources, with so many information, the teacher has turned, the policy has imagined the teacher as an active agent. How can I adapt this curriculum for my students?
Exactly. And ma'am, you have also mentioned about the rural areas and the city areas. What difference we can imagine, we can see in that areas?
Shivani, context matters a lot.
Okay.
The problem, if you talk, the problem of traffic chaos will be for urban children, like they can understand these problems. Reaching late in the classroom would be an issue.
Right.
The context, if you are taking an action research in Rajasthan on the basis, the context would be totally different. That could be the harvest season, that is the teacher are coming, the students are coming late, the parents are involved in other activities. So the absenteeism in cities, the reasons are different. Absenteeism in villages,
They are very commonly.
They are very common.
Yes.
Or the reasons, the situation in Mumbai. Mumbaikars will talk about traffic chaos. Delhites will talk about air pollution. Rural Rajasthan or a rural village or a tribal village in northeast where a KV is situated, the situation is totally, the context is totally different. So action research, I would say, gives you the power to be locally responsive,
Okay.
while remaining professionally rigorous. And this is what I would say the power of teacher is in, as NEP has envisaged.
So ma'am, what does NEP says about the research plan that we are talking about? So can we
like,
also have brief?
NEP has talked a lot about the research, but I think if I start talking about it, I would like to concentrate upon the term research here.
Okay.
And how action research differs from traditional research. As you have already, you had shown concern
Yes,
about the timings that are required. So I would say that when the word research itself comes, we just feel that you are researching for a degree, it will be time consuming and it will take lot of effort, lot of money would be involved, and who would allow us with the daily routine, the grueling daily routine which a teacher now has, teaching, preparing notes, preparing PowerPoint presentation, making it experiential and integrating it with sports, integrating with other pedagogies, integrating with other subjects. The task is enormous. So traditional research is generally something which is carried out for generalizing some, like the medicinal research, the other researchers which you do for PhD, the researchers in the case of healthcare. These are traditional researchers which lead to certain, may or may not lead to certain generalizable results. And of course, they involve a lot of time, money, effort, grants, so on and so forth. And they also require a guide, a supervisor, somebody to constantly handhold. Okay. And then it takes time, I said it takes months and years. And then of course, you have to publish in the journals.
Exactly.
Right. That is, and what works has to be found out. But action research, I would say, now your queries about time will be resolved because it is a problem which is, it could be classroom centric, it has solutions which are very contextual, and it is the involvement. If I am a teacher teaching in the class, I face the problem of absenteeism, I face the problem of children in an inclusive classroom. How are they to be treated and brought to be brought at par with the other children? Then it is constant involvement. My involvement will be desired. Then it is in real time. It could finish in 2 weeks. It could take about a month, depending upon the complexity of the situation problem you have. And then it is, the solution is immediately applied. You don't wait for a degree to come, you don't wait it to be certified by a university. You have done a problem, you have worked out a solution, discuss, try it the very next day in your classroom and see how it works. And then what works here? For I would say, I have just put it in the presentation, that is what works here now and for these learners to whom I am catering. This is what is action research. And it is not about theories, improving theories, it is not about theories, implementing theories, it is about improving practices. The way we are doing, how could we do it better? How could we do it in optimum time? How could we help what we are doing, the strategy which you are using, leading us to reach the learning outcomes, achieve the learning outcomes. It is not about publishing papers, though you can after an action research. We always promote, we always ask children when we have workshop for diet faculties and other faculties and conduct capacity building programs for key resource persons for various states of the country. And we always ask them to publish the work, document and publish, because it is about transforming learning experience, augmenting them, bringing them to a plausible, bringing a problem to a plausible solution in a real time.
Okay. So ma'am, I also want to know, like, is there any procedure also for the action research plan?
Yes, the action research, basically, before that I would like to say that procedure, before the procedure I would also like to tell you, Shivani, the teachers must be thinking that everybody is teaching different subjects. We have teachers of different class, maybe class from 12th watching our show. So in that case, the question comes to their mind, in my subject how can I find, what is my problem? The problems may differ from subject to subject. Do I need to do action research? So I would just tell you that there is action research problems. Since this session is particularly for KV teachers, I have just numbered some researchers. I have just tried to cull out what could be the problems. It is a loud thought, but I think it would help. Post NEP, we have now the 2 national curriculum frameworks, the National Curriculum Framework for Foundation State and National Curriculum Framework for secondary school education. Now here we have, suppose it is about a language teacher. Now a language teacher may have lot of questions. It could be in a KV where is remote access, it could be in a remote access area where there is limited access to age appropriate materials. They are not there. Reading materials are not there. Reading materials in their languages are not there. They cannot procure digital resources, or maybe there is erratic connectivity for the FLN mission. Now action research question, Shivani, I would like to tell our audience that could arise is, how can the policy talks about play based pedagogies, and recently you had a session on Jadoi Patara also.
Exactly.
So how can these play based pedagogies be adopted in overcrowded classrooms and in urban KV classrooms where the number is too much, and how could they reach to the student? Another action research problem could be how low cost materials could be locally sourced, and they can replace the digital material for implementing the FLN. And how effectively, another problem for this, I could say it would be like how effective are the peer learning strategies or mixed ability foundation mixed ability foundation learning groups. These problems make, I think these are the problems the teacher might face while implementing FL in the remote areas, and talking about multilingualism in many languages in the foundation state. So even competency, Shivani, competency based assessment is also talked about.
Yes, true.
And assessment is something that NCERT is doing a lot. We at Parak, at Parak have come out with a holistic progress card, which has been shared with the country, has been disseminated countrywide. And when I talk to teachers of the record, just casually, they tell that we have been trained in the traditional methods of evaluation, assessment and evaluation. We struggle to implement this continuous comprehensive evaluation through all these the new strategies of evaluation which have come out, and through the along with vis-a-vis the competency framework. And then this makes a very good case for action research for every teacher, in every classroom, for every subject, that how you develop practical rubrics. When you do some assessment, it comes with a lot of documentation work. So teacher often fear that that would add to their already existing work. Now in that case, how can teacher develop practical rubrics that capture competencies? That is very important without excessive documentation burden. The teachers could go for this as an action research project. And how formative assessment strategies work in larger classrooms.
Exactly.
Because formative assessment, every child is different. How do you carry for different groups in the classroom? That is going to be a good action research strategy. In small classrooms, it is possible. In bigger classroom, it becomes difficult. And then how do students, when you are implementing an innovation, what happens is sometimes parents are often finicky. They ask, nothing is visible, no progress is visible, what is that which is being done in the school? If you are, the teachers are implementing some reform or doing practicing some innovative strategy, it takes time.
Exactly.
And immediate results are not visible. So this again forms a topic of action research, that how do parents and students perceive this shift from marks to competency, and the time taken, how do they respond to it, how do you convince them? This was form a very interesting action research
So ma'am,
project.
also like what kind of action research plan can a teacher form during the assessment and evaluation? Can we have some examples for the same also?
Just like I said, the shift in shift from traditional methods to competency based method, that is one action research project.
Yes.
Then various assessment strategies, how can they be implemented in classrooms, different types of classroom, classrooms with larger number of students, classroom with lesser number of students, a classroom which is highly inclusive. How could it be included in implemented?
We always
for the
talk
students?
about inclusivity,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay. So next, what we are going to learn, ma'am, through this action research plan?
You talked about the action research cycle. If you want
Yes.
me to give examples for all the teachers, I would be
Yes,
happy
for
to
sure.
give. I
Yes.
would be happy to share with you. Now, mathematics is a subject which often say कि mathematics
Very tough subject according to the students.
students say, right?
Yes.
But exactly now, NCF has National Curriculum Frameworks have emphasized on conceptual understanding, and it is the coaching culture, I would say, that undermines the mathematics, school mathematics. People go for mathematics, the maximum number of, although I cannot quote any data, but definitely I see everybody around me, when I talk to people, they say maths की coaching लेने जा रहा है, it's mathematics का tuition लेने जा रहा है.
Right.
So the problem could be the lack of manipulatives, lack of geometry tools. We see there could be many reasons. And lack of proper expression in the language. As long as you do with the numbers, children are okay. But when it comes to expressing in language, they face problem. The problem sums, the statement sums.
True.
They face problems. So they could calculate it nicely, but when it comes to writing the statement, they are stuck. So train teachers for activity based learning. How could we induce activity into the mathematics so that mathematics becomes very interesting? This could be a problem which could make an action research. See, like can local materials be used for teaching mathematics, mathematical concepts? Can a room be used in absence of any devices? What are the locally procured materials that could add to the understanding of mathematics? And in case of non-availability of digital connectivity or digital tools or digital devices,
Yes.
how can flipped classroom models work when the internet connectivity is erratic? So, this could also form a problem for action research for mathematics teachers all over the country.
Okay. So, as you talked about teaching learning material also, which we can use differently, like in rural areas also and in urban also schools. So, what are the teaching learning materials which we can use other than rooms in the rural areas? So, can we also have some examples for the same?
Yes, when there are no lab facilities, science students often report that more theoretical and less practical teaching is done. So, in that case, where there are no lab facilities, how can kitchen, the home kitchen, turn into a laboratory? The kitchen is full of chemistry.
That is very interesting.
Right from the salt to the sugar to the reactions
Vinegar.
of cooking.
Yes.
Yes, very rightly said, vinegar, sugar, and your cooking, the changing forms from one state to another,
state.
the temperature regulation, the kitchen forms an excellent laboratory. So, how can kitchen science be related to the understanding? Can they substitute to the lab equipment?
Exactly.
Understanding of nutrition, understanding of reaction, understanding of chemistry, understanding of precautions, so on and so forth. And even what impacts does project based learning? A lot of activities taken up, like growing of plants, water testing, soil testing, they can have on scientific temper of the students. These activity can also constitute an action research project in science. And we talk a lot about virtual labs.
Exactly.
And use them also. So, can virtual labs bridge the infrastructure gap? Or if they are able to do in such situation, what are the prerequisites of using infrastructure these virtual labs?
Physical laboratories, right?
Yes, in lieu of the actual laboratories. So, this could also form a good action research problem, and the solution would be very useful for the classroom.
Okay, so other than mathematics or science, can we also have other subjects that we can use action research plan? Like if we talk about the subject languages, as you earlier told, and social science. So is there any research plan for that also?
Definitely, definitely, Shivani. Language, the medium of communication.
Okay.
Policy talks of multilingualism.
Yes.
Supports mother tongue. Right. Now, of course, I am speaking in English, we talk English, English भाषा के प्रति भी लगाव कम नहीं है लोगों का, और इंग्लिश भी एक माध्यम है पढ़ाने का. नाउ इंग्लिश टीचर्स को हमेशा विभिन्न भाषाओं के टीचर्स के साथ में वो सोचते हैं कि किस तरीके से भाषा को पढ़ाया जाए, ताकि हर टीचर, इंग्लिश टीचर वांट्स दैट my student should be good at English. Other language teachers, Sanskrit teacher would like my student should be proficient in my language. Hindi teacher wants my student should be able to express best in Hindi languages. So, what are the multilingual strategies which are being used? KVs are spread across the country, multiple language, the diverse country, and the number of languages. We have 22 languages in the constitutional this thing. 22 भाषाएं हैं हमारे संविधान द्वारा अधिसूचित, और इसके अलावा हजारों ट्राइबल लैंग्वेजेस हैं. भाषाओं की जितनी विविधता हमारे देश में उतनी विश्व में कहीं पर भी नहीं है. तो हाउ इफेक्टिव आर मल्टीलिंगुअल टीचिंग स्ट्रेटजीज फॉर टीचिंग इंग्लिश, or say for example teaching Hindi or any other language. Okay. क्या story telling in folk traditions contribute to learning of languages?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
And this one more I would say, कि what is the role the digital tools they play for learning languages, that is text to speech, audio books,
Exactly.
language apps, they are coming up where there is no connectivity, and in remote areas where there is connectivity access, where there is a digital divide, this could be used for
Exactly.
languages.
And ma'am, NCERT also initiates these audiobooks,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Based on different subject and different stories. So it could also help all the students and all our viewers, teachers to understand very easily. So after this, ma'am, is there any other problem we can also, identify that could be easy for the teachers to understand about their students?
Yes, there could be, there are multiple. I have just tried to tell one or two out of each subject. It could be, now the social science teachers would
Yes,
think
it is very
that
difficult.
our subject is left off. So, the urban problem which the urban schools they face, it is more textbook centric, है ना?
Correct.
पढ़ के पढ़ाई जाती है, ठीक है. Local history and civics, they're disconnected. I just give you an example that we had been long back when I was working with the Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan cell. At that time we had done a capacity building program for Goa science teachers,
Okay.
science and social science teachers. At that time we went around Goa and we took pictures of all the historical places. There is a monument in the memory of the person who happened to be a Sikh who faced the first bullet when the Portuguese came.
Oh.
And we just took the pictures, and the next day we asked that how familiar are you with the history of Goa. All of you know that Goa is a place, only 2 districts, very small,
Right, very small.
very small state. But to our surprise, none of them were aware of that monument. When we clicked the pictures, the monument was not maintained properly at that time. It was way back in 2016 when we went there, and it was covered with bushes, not taken care of. But then the person who took the first bullet, he was Karnail Singh, if I am not wrong, and the entire martyrs list was put on the wall in the form of a flower petal, and the names were engraved in that. Then we asked them to go and see that monument, ask the children to take to this monument. So, local history, we often talk, history is something which is very much talked about, but only taught in a way in textbook centric. So, diverse resources which are available around in the village, the folk resources, the resources of the place you belong to, this could be an effective way of teaching social sciences and could very well form a project, action research project. How community based heritage, I would say, enhances the understanding of history, or so for the matter geography.
Yes.
See, like geography or even chemistry, you go to historical monuments, and there are monuments which there is no cement is used. There are beautiful carvings on the rock for architecture. It could be a matter of study
And
for
we
so
can
many
learn
subjects.
a lot of things from that monument also, the writing skills, the designing skills which they used in the earlier or the ancient times, right?
Yes,
We
yes,
can
yes.
get an idea of that also.
And then a very interesting action research which could be
Yes.
taken up is what happens when the student research and document local oral histories,
Okay.
which is folk traditions, local oral told to them by grandfathers and elders. Then how could it affect their how could that enrich the curriculum? That is something which we need to take up as an action research. Even Shivani, आर्ट्स एंड फिजिकल टीचर्स माइट बी फीलिंग कि हम क्या करें एक्शन रिसर्च, हमारे लिए क्या है. तो मैं फिर कहूँगी कि पॉलिसी बात करती है, पॉलिसी स्पीक्स द इम्पोर्टेंस आर्ट इंटीग्रेशन की बात कही गई है, और आर्ट इंटीग्रेशन NCERT के लेवल पे बहुत बड़े पैमाने पे आर्ट इंटीग्रेटेड लर्निंग की ट्रेनिंग्स हमारे यहाँ पर कला और सौंदर्य बोध विभाग द्वारा पूरे देश में दी जा रही है।
एग्जैक्टली, एंड मैम आई थिंक आज के टाइम में लर्निंग के आगे भी हम आर्ट्स एंड कल्चर को भी कहीं ना कहीं एक प्लेस पे रखते हैं, एंड एनसीईआरटी इसमें काफ़ी आगे है जो हर चीज़ों को आगे रखता है।
हाँ, तो
This is the integration.
rightly said Shivani. And maths through Rangoli, how
Yes,
do we integrate art in various subjects? Kolam, South Indians know that we
Yes.
put it on the door, dots, and make a Rangoli type design. Rangoli is
Okay.
different, Kolam is different, and science through craft. Okay, impact, how does integrating this affect the learning outcomes? That could be done. That could be done. How, for a physical education teacher, how could traditional sports can be included in the curriculum? Because when a child is very much familiar with the sport he plays at home, right? How all those traditional sports could be integrated into the curriculum, and it could also be helping in augmenting their learning outcomes to achieve their learning outcomes. Also, correlation, there is something which can be taken up as an action research project, that is correlation between regular arts, physical education and participation, and how does integrating art and participating in physical education activities affect the academic achievement of the
Okay.
children.
So ma'am, as you also talked about inclusivity, so we have to also focus on that inclusive classroom, because we also have a different form of students like special children also and the normal also. So how can you define the inclusivity, and what would you like to say on that for the action research plan?
Yes, the classroom are widely inclusive, Shivani, and we face a crunch of no special educators in the classroom,
Right.
right? And not all children are lucky enough to have all the assistive devices, the support, and these children are often marginalized in absence of the resources. So, I would like to tell you, I would just like you to shift to the slide number. Imagine an inclusive classroom. When you imagine an inclusive classroom, so in an inclusive classroom the children do not have, the challenge comes, I have taken an example, the inclusion challenge. Take the inclusion challenge. So there are students, suppose you imagine there are only 3 students with learning disabilities in the classroom. Then the teacher is faced with a situation that how do I differentiate integration in instruction for the diverse learner of my classrooms. Then as we will talk about the, we did not tell what action research cycle are, I have been telling about the situations and problem.
Exactly.
So the teacher may plan, he or she could plan learning stations, he could make visual schedules, visual cards, and he could even work for developing buddy system. He could also ask children to be buddy and then act. It could be the child could, the teacher could give time for 6 weeks, rotate the buddies, observe and document, and then discover that what helps, how much do the visual schedules they help, and of course peer learning, the peer learning, how it is helping all the students, and then how peer learning is reducing the teachers efforts also and instruction time also. Children learn in the company of their own friends. So before telling other problems, I would also like you to shift to the action research cycle.
Exactly.
Because the viewers might be thinking ki I have been action research cycle.
Yes, yes.
Please
We are
change
moving
it.
towards
Yes,
it.
हाँ. So the action research cycle is, once we have to identify the problems. I have identified a few problems for you. You may be having many more in your classroom. Daily, the classroom is so dynamic that you face so many challenges every day. So this action research cycle, this is identify, that is spot the problem which you think is not letting you, your classroom interaction go smoothly, not letting you be satisfied at the end of the day that why these students are not performing well. So once you find out the problem, when you spot the problem, then the time comes for planning. As you asked about the time, here
Yes.
it is reflected.
Okay.
Now you can plan, you sit, you can design an intervention, you can talk to your other teachers in the school and plan an intervention that what can work. And then that plan of action has to be implemented in the classroom. Once you implement that plan of action, you observe that is it working, and if it is working, your observation will tell if it is working, to what extent is it working. Then once you sit, you can sit with other teachers, you can sit alone, you can reflect and analyze. After 2 or 3 weeks, you can reflect and analyze that what worked best in the situation. So this is a spiral. Again, identify, plan, act and reflect.
Exactly.
So it is not a cycle. It's not a circle, it is a spiral. You keep on doing it again and again, and every cycle enriches your understanding. Every cycle adds to your professional growth, and every cycle helps your children to be better learners. Every cycle helps them to inch more closely to achieving the learning outcomes.
Okay, so ma'am, can we also have the examples of the each
Yes.
step for the same?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I would, like I said, identify the, you can shift to the next slide. This is a teacher in Kerala. I
Okay.
took Kerala, you can show. This is a teacher in Kerala, and he is a language teacher. He gives the children to read in the classroom for silent reading. And he is very perturbed when he sees that only 6 out of 35 students are actually reading. Most of them are pretending to read and not reading at all. So in that case, his research question, which a dedicated teacher he tries to find out why this is not happening. Out of a class of 35, why only 6 are reading, not taking reading as important as it should be. So his research question is, how can I increase authentic reading engagement during the independent reading time?
Okay.
For this, he would, like a normal teacher, any teacher, there are 2 situations. The teacher could say, why are the students so lazy? ये पढ़ते क्यों नहीं है? इनके पेरेंट्स इनको पढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित क्यों नहीं करते?
Why can't they understand very easily?
Why don't parents care about their education?
Right.
The good question which the teacher would ask, any good teacher would ask is, how can I use multilingual resources to support this language learning? What happens when I incorporate the student choices in their assessment? These are the 2 good questions which the teacher could ask, could help find solution to his problem. And then these good questions, while planning and action research, the good question is something that helps you, that shifts your focus on what you can change, not what's wrong with others.
Exactly.
What you can change in the classroom, instead of finding ये बच्चे पढ़ते ही नहीं हैं, ये बच्चों को रीडिंग में इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है, इनके पेरेंट्स इनका कोई सहयोग ही नहीं करते, हम क्या करें? So other than, it is the focus should be what you can change for all the remaining 29 children. Okay, and not what is wrong with them, right? So the second step which comes, which I said, that is plan. You can, so what the teacher can do, I am sure all of you must be doing that. That is, you can create a classroom library, and library is not that mota books. In a classroom library, you could bring diverse book. Comics is something children like to read very much. Story books are other than the syllabus books, other than the course ka kitab. You bring story books, you bring magazines, children magazines, you bring comics to the classroom and make the classroom library rich. Then you can also come out this is the execution plan. You are planning you can bring out book talks. I read about book, or you can introduce an activity. See, this is a book and we will go on book reading exercise, which normally is conducted in many schools also, and there are book reading clubs. So I am reading the book, you read the second part, and let us discuss on Saturday, or let us discuss on the next day that what interesting did you find that. And then there is one more thing which is very important. You have to allow them to be flexible, not sitting fixed at a place and doing the entire thing. Not sitting fixed at a place and just reading a book mechanically. You could give them places where they could shift. They could sit with their friends, they could even sit in the school garden, they could even sit below a tree and they can read. So that they enjoy the activity. And then what can be done is, ask them to prepare reading logs. What you liked in the book, what you did not like in the book, what is that you would like to share. Do you like to read the book again, or do you like to get books for similar types of book or different types of book, right? And now you will ask Shalini that how is data collected in this?
How
so
can we do
because
that?
you are planning
Yes.
an intervention, so how do you collect data? How do you see that your plan is working or not? So for that you have to make observation notes. You can see which child is interested, which
And
child
which
is
not.
disinterested. Then again go through the student reading logs randomly.
Okay, we can find through that.
You can
only.
go through that, and
Okay.
then quick surveys. You can see if somebody enjoys a book, the person is so engrossed that they forget about everything here and there. Just like in Delhi metro, when we travel, we see everybody like this,
Right.
not
In the
knowing
very
who is
same
sitting in the
position.
left and not knowing who is sitting
Very
on the
truly
right.
said.
Right.
Yes.
So exactly when you start enjoying a book, you have the same feeling that
And
you
ma'am,
don't
you know, most of the people make excuses like they don't read books because they don't like it. Gets boring for them to read every day for a single book or the single pages. We know the same excuses from them.
Yes, so,
So
if
why
you
is it
just
so?
distribute the chapter wise,
Yes.
interest wise, and give them time to
Okay.
inculcate that habit. So
Okay.
this could be, the enjoyment could be seen on the face.
Oh.
The happiness
child,
is
yes.
also an observation parameter. So you can also populate your library with contextually rich, low cost. NBT
True.
gives so many books, there are so many NCERT reading publications, supplementary, there are so many magazines which are pedagogically sound, and this is something low cost. This activity would be low cost, context appropriate and pedagogically sound, because there is nothing you have done, you have only taken books from the library and created and given them some flexibility in reading, some flexibility in sitting,
Right.
and try and encourage them to talk about what they have read. Often the voices of children are unheard because the voice of teacher which resonates in the classroom.
True.
So when they get an outlet to their voice, definitely this is going to see improvement. After this, Shivani, we come to phase 3.
Okay.
That is, how do we implement this
Change.
right? Phase 3 is acting. Now we can have adjustment,
Okay.
like you see this sitting, you can even arrange for some bean bags if possible. If not, allow them to sit wherever they want. This if it is possible to change, then it should be adjust when student avoid picture books. Some like reading from the picture books, some do not, right? Then create genre baskets, that is, some when the students are struggled for choice, what happens is they do
Yes.
not know what all the books are available for them.
Okay.
So be responsive, provide them help, and stay true to the purpose of adapting. That these books you have to make, the teacher has to make an extra effort. The extra effort is that you have to find out which books are good,
True.
age appropriate books, है ना? Then the traditional research, if we talk of traditional research in this case, it so happens they stick to the protocol, go step by step, prepare a hypothesis, make a problem statement,
True.
prepare a hypothesis, then test, have a methodology, plan an intervention, test against the hypothesis, do the review of related literature, so on and so forth. But action research does not involve all those paraphernalia. it is action research stays true to the purpose for which it is meant.
So you mean, ma'am, we should need to make them feel first, right?
Yes.
Comfortable and freely, so that they can make any of their choices and they can read, they can sit anywhere they want, right?
Yes, this is particular
This is a
to this
particular-
particular example, Shivani. And then we come to the phase number 4.
Okay.
The phase number 4, that is after week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever you decide.
Okay.
How much time you give for reading? Say for example, one period you devote to reading, or 15 minutes in every second day for reading. You see, this is you would see, a teacher would see that students' engagement has increased. This is definitely going to increase if the children get something which they like. If the children like, they would like to, definitely like to. Some are very restless, they can't sit on a place and read for a longer time. But when the thing starts getting interesting, the books start getting interesting. You know, just like we read a mystery story, we just cannot get up, or like we see a suspense film or a thriller, we get goosebumps, and till the
Exactly.
last we are waiting for what is going to happen.
Right.
So exactly, an interesting books for the children, if that interest is created, if children are brought to that threshold, reading will automatically happen. So this teacher saw 28, engagement has increased, the children have been given variety of choices. अच्छा, ये भी किताबें हो सकती हैं, कोर्स की किताब के अलावा हम मोबाइल करते रहते हैं तो, या टीवी देखते रहते हैं, तो कोर्स की किताबों के अलावा ये भी किया जा सकता है.
Exactly. They will find
ये
that
एक और
interesting
पैरामीटर
also.
हो सकता है जब बच्चे रीडिंग की एक्टिविटी के लिए और टाइम मांगने लगे. क्या हमारी रीडिंग क्लास और लंबी नहीं हो सकती?
Sure, for
ठीक
sure,
है.
ma'am.
अब टीचर के पास इस एक्शन रिसर्च को करने के बाद में कुछ क्वेश्चंस इमर्ज होंगे कि क्या एडिशनल सपोर्ट मैं अपने बच्चों के लिए प्रोवाइड कर सकता हूँ. ओके. और हाउ कैन आई इन्वॉल्व peer recommendations also. मेरे साथियों ने मेरी ये एक्टिविटी देखी तो उनके रिकमेंडेशंस क्या हैं, अदर टीचर्स, है ना. दिस रिफ्लेक्शन, ये रिफ्लेक्शन जो एक्शन रिसर्च का हमने बताया था, तो उस साइकिल का पार्ट, दिस रिफ्लेक्शन बिकम्स द आइडेंटिफाई फॉर द नेक्स्ट फेज ऑफ साइकिल्स. व्हाट नेक्स्ट? रीडिंग अच्छी हो गई, अब इसके बाद क्या? एक बार रीडिंग अच्छी होगी, रीडिंग की हैबिट बन गई, वो बनी रहे, ये बिकम्स द आइडेंटिफिकेशन पॉइंट फॉर द नेक्स्ट एक्शन.
एंड फॉर द सेम मैम, आई थिंक कि अगर हमने ये रिसर्च प्लान कर लिया, तो जो स्टूडेंट्स होंगे तो उनको भी कहीं ना कहीं कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डअप होगा. अगर टीचर ने बोला कि येस यू आर वेरी गुड एट रीडिंग, देन दे विल ऑल्सो फाइंड वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट कि येस हमें टीचर ने हमारी तारीफ की है तो अब हम अच्छा और कर सकते हैं, एंड हमारी वो हैबिट होगी रीडिंग की, वो बनती चली जाएगी. सो हम ये भी कह सकते हैं कि अगर टीचर इस तरीके से रिसर्च प्लान कर सकता है, यूज़ करते हैं, सो इट विल ऑल्सो एडवांटेज फॉर देयर स्टूडेंट्स एज वेल, राइट?
राइटली सेड. And this reflection becomes identifying the next phase of the problem, है ना. और स्पाइरल कंटिन्यू. रीडिंग की एक रिसर्च हो गई तो नमस्ते, ऐसा नहीं है. इट कुड फॉर्म द बेसिस ऑफ नेक्स्ट रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम, एंड विच कुड हेल्प. एंड अल्टीमेटली एवरी टीचर्स ऑब्जेक्टिव, और आई वुड से एक ध्येय टीचर का यही होता है कि मेरे बच्चे अच्छे से कैसे पढ़ें, मेरे बच्चे अच्छा स्कोर कैसे करें, मेरे बच्चे जो मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ उसे अच्छे से कैसे समझे, सुने, बुने, गुने, आत्मसात करें. तो ये एक्शन रिसर्च की एक्टिविटी इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा सहायक सिद्ध होती है. तो इस पूरी साइकिल में जो हमारी लर्निंग हुई, नेक्स्ट प्लीज, तो ये है कि एविडेंस बेस हमने सारा कुछ किया. ये रीडिंग बढ़ी घटी, ये हमने सारा एविडेंस बेस किया. जैसा आप चित्र में देख रहे हैं, हम सारे साथी एक साथ मिलकर बात कर रहे हैं, है ना. कलेक्ट डाटा, जो हमारा डाटा आया, उन ऑब्जर्वेशंस को, बच्चों के काम को, बच्चों ने कितना एंजॉय किया, वो सारी बातों को आप एक जगह रखें और ये एविडेंस हमें गाइड करे ना. ऐसा नहीं कि 4 बच्चे तो पढ़ते पढ़ते बहुत खुश हो रहे थे तो हमने अपनी रीडिंग एबिलिटी बढ़ा दी. नो, देन इट हैज़ टू बी कोलैबोरेटिव. मैं एक्शन रिसर्च कर रही हूँ, आई हैव टू इन्वॉल्व माई पीयर्स, शेयर इट विद कलीग्स. फाइंडिंग शेयर करिए आप. इंटरवेंशन कुछ बना रहे हैं, नहीं वर्क कर रहा, वो शेयर कीजिए आप. डिस्कस विद मेंटर्स ऑल्सो. देयर आर सीनियर टीचर्स, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, प्रिंसिपल्स, इवन अदर टीचर्स फ्रॉम अदर इंस्टीट्यूशन, उनके साथ भी डिस्कशन किया जा सकता है. और ये लर्निंग कम्युनिटीज़ की, प्रोफेशनल लर्निंग कम्युनिटीज़ की बात राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में कही गई है, तो यही तो है प्रोफेशनल लर्निंग कम्युनिटीज़। और साथ ही में ये एथिकल भी है, ये कि प्रोटेक्ट द प्राइवेसी। कोई बच्चा इतना सब कुछ करने के बाद में नहीं कर पा रहा है, तो उसमें क्लासरूम में सबके सामने उसे लज्जित करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, या किसी बच्चे की प्रॉब्लम को ब्लो ऑफ करके बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। एंश्योर इट कॉजेज नो हार्म टू द चिल्ड्रन एंड ऑनेस्ट रिपोर्टिंग, है ना, एंड दिस ये लर्नर के बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट में होना चाहिए। तो ये कुछ 3 बातें हैं जो की प्रिंसिपल्स पूरी एक्शन रिसर्च साइकिल के को गवर्न करते हैं, दैट इट हैज़ टू बी एविडेंस बेस्ड, which is very important, because that is the evidence you are seeing, that evidence is culminating into the solution, then it has to be collaborative. And of course ethical has to be followed. And then yes, you have to ask something.
Yes, I just want to say ma'am कि NEP 2020 as you earlier talked about and मैंने भी वो अपने इंट्रो में मेंशन किया था कि NEP 2020 भी बेसिकली हमारे एक्शन रिसर्च प्लान के बारे में बहुत कुछ बातें कहता है एंड रिसर्च को भी किस तरीके से वो डिफाइन करता है। सो आई वांट टू नो कि NEP 2020 कैसे इसे रिलेवेंट तरीके से रिलेट करता है एंड क्या कुछ कहता है इसके बारे में।
देखिए 5 की एरियाज हैं राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में, जो जिनके ऊपर बहुत जोर दिया गया है। वैसे तो कई हैं, पर मैंने एक्शन रिसर्च के सापेक्ष ये 5 एरिया आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं। तो ये एनईपी का अलाइनमेंट इन 5 की एरियाज में बहुत आवश्यक है। एक तो कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड एजुकेशन, एनईपी 2020 और अभी तक जो NCERT नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क्स आए हैं, ये कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड एजुकेशन की बात करते हैं। तो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग को कैसे एसेस करें, क्रिएटिविटी को कैसे मेजर करें, एक्शन रिसर्च कैन एक्सप्लोर दिस क्वेश्चंस। ओके, मदर टंग मल्टीलिंगुअलिज्म की जब बात आती है तो इट लुक्स डिफरेंट, इसको अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग तरीके से परसीव करते हैं। मल्टीलिंगुअलिज्म इज परसीव्ड बाय डिफरेंट पीपल इन एंड दे हैव डिफरेंट नोशंस अबाउट इट। सो अपने कंटेक्स्ट में, जिस कंटेक्स्ट में आप हैं, जिस कंटेक्स्ट में आपका क्लासरूम सिचुएटेड है, उस कंटेक्स्ट के विज़ावी आप इस पर एक्शन रिसर्च ले सकते हैं।
So ma'am, in multilingual and we can also add the regional languages that we speak, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
लोकल कंटेक्स्ट से मेरा मतलब यही था।
Okay.
ठीक है। फिर इसके बाद में एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग, एक ये शब्द है जो आज बज़वर्ड बन गया है, और एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग भी कई लोग कई टीचर्स ग्रॉसली मिसअंडरस्टैंड करते हैं कि एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग का मतलब गिविंग देम एन एक्सपीरियंस। आई वुड से गिविंग देम एन एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ समथिंग, एन एक्सपेरिमेंट, a garden, a monument, a situation is the first thing, right? Now how this experience culminates into the learning and learning outcomes, concept development, that is the entire cycle which everybody has to think of. So this pedagogical renewal which the policy talks about, that is experiential learning, art integration, how to integrate art, to what extent, in which subject, where, at what time, this has to be known to the teacher. This could form the basis. And which art?
Exactly.
We have rich art traditions all over the country. So wherever you are situated, if you are situated in Mumbai, it could be a Worli art, it could be a Gond art. If you are situated in Chhattisgarh,
any of the corner of the state.
Yes, yeah. And recently I read a book teaching mathematics through column designs. Okay, so this is very interesting. So as per the place, that is again context, and then of course this would definitely become a big resource, a rich resource, it would contribute to the repository of the Kendriya Vidyalayas and even all the learners, that it could be how experiential learning works, how art integration works, how gamification works, and when you document and share it with others, who knows, you can publish a paper on that. There are various NCERT journals, you can voice your opinion through our journals also. Yes. Okay. And then comes assessment, right? The 4th pillar is assessment, which we are talking about, the evaluation, continuous and comprehensive assessment, and of course the various innovations in assessment that have happened, which have happened, and various types of new alternative assessment strategies that have emerged. Because when you are the way of teaching, you are continuously experimenting with new pedagogies. The ways of assessment also have to fall in place. So, multiple ways of assessment have to come up. So, it could be you could have an action research on the holistic assessment also.
Okay.
Which assessment system, where, how it works. Then one thing which is more important, and always I talk, that is action research is professional for professional development. It is so self-directed. Nobody tells me to do action research in the classroom, but I face this problem, so I will take the initiative to find a solution for that. And that is the power. So, it is your own professional development. If I see a problem, I try to find a solution. It is my professional. In my journey, I learn new facts, and it is my professional development.
Okay, so ma'am, in the next slide we also have the different scenario as you have mentioned. So I would also like to know, and our viewers also want to know the scenarios, different scenarios for the same. So could you please elaborate that?
Yes. This you had talked, Shivani, you had talked about inclusion.
Yes.
So this situation is that
Okay.
this is a class 2 picture of a students of class 2.
Bangalore of Bangalore, right.
And the example is Bangalore school, and it is an urban school.
Okay.
Urban, situated in the urban area. So these 3 students in the entire class, the 3 students are facing learning disabilities.
Okay.
Okay, in the class, and the class is of 40 students. Now the problem the teacher face, which could contribute, which could become a good action research project, is how can I differentiate instruction for diverse learner in my classroom.
True.
Okay. So there are diverse learners, some are gifted, some learn very fast, and the teacher has to constantly handhold. And as you know, there are special educators not available in every classroom, in every school. So now the teacher can plan. The teacher can plan what to do, visual schedules, what are the devices the teacher can use, and as I said, buddy system, the teacher can look for buddies, plan for buddies, take 6-week cycle, and then and see what are the changes happening, and what helps and what does not help, what works and what does not work.
And finally, they can also discover
that
the
they can
output.
yes, and also share with other teachers of other subjects. In fact, it is a class 2, so early identification. There's a NCERT app also, Prashast, early identification of learning disabilities. That could also help them, but definitely this action research project could be taken up to have various and then on the basis of this project, the teacher could plan interventions, what could be done for these teachers.
For the holistic development of a child.
Once the teachers get an evidence that what works for these 3 children. Now this situation is for the classroom of that context.
Right.
Other classrooms, there would be children for other differentially abled in other areas also. Okay, some may have auditory impaired, some have visually challenged or visually impaired. So the children differ, the cycle is the same, interventions differ. Okay, and then those interventions which have worked, you can apply in your classroom. Okay, so that the solution is very specific to your classroom.
Okay.
It's not like a broad spectrum antibiotic that you take a medicine which normally we pop in for fever and for body pains. हर मर्ज की एक दवा, ऐसा नहीं है. स्पेशल मर्ज की स्पेशल दवा. Action research के द्वारा solution.
Okay, ma'am. We have also talked about post-pandemic engagement. So, how can we make research plan for the same?
See, I have taken an example for class 9 students now. I took example for class 2 students, students with reading problems. Now, this is UP government school. Okay. So, the teacher sees that the children are physically present but mentally absent. And this problem is very, very prevalent because the attention span after pandemic of everyone has been taken
Got
to a
reduced.
toss.
Right.
हमारा भी, teachers का भी, students का भी, सबका, because with every ping on the mobile, what happens?
We
आपका
see
ध्यान बटता
whose
है.
notification is there.
Yes.
Right.
Right? And if even if there is no notification, I
Still we
read
look
there is
into
a
that.
research that an average person, every person at an average checks his or her mobile 150 times a day
Oh.
without any
That's very
notification.
strange,
Without
ma'am.
any notification. Okay. So there's a research and I read it recently. So
Okay.
you know, this is a big distractor. So this is the problem of which we can take. Science students, they are present but they are not taking interest, and this is class 9. So what could the intervention, the problem has been framed, what is the intervention which the teacher can design? That is that one inquiry based lesson the teacher can prepare 1 week. The teacher has to prepare materials for the experiments, this, and has to see whether they can be executed in the classroom or not, and then look for the local connection. As I always say, give problem a face, the solution the children will be involved. If you ask children about the pollution problem, Delhi children to do a project in the month of December on pollution problem, they would be connected.
Exactly.
If you ask the Mumbaikars to work on traffic
Traffic.
chaos, they
Yes.
would work, right? If you ask somebody about the depletion, environment, if you ask the rural children about the use of pesticides, okay, this any
They can
project which you
easily
give,
able
so
to do.
connect it, give the problem a face, and the children get connected, and then look, that is I call local environment connection. And then it could be water quality testing, it could be air pollution, it could be kitchen chemistry. Look for the chemicals in your kitchen. How many chemicals are there on your dining table? NaCl, the salt, is a chemical. Okay, water,
Exactly.
look for the formulae of the things. Now once they get connected, they become inquisitive, and then the results are they keep on this. See, we see so many things every day, we pass through the same way, but we do not know what types of flowers are there on our way, we do not know what types of trees are there in the way. Okay,
Actually,
so
ma'am.
we see a lot of things but we observe less.
We never notices it.
Yes. So when you connect the things, it so happens that improved concept retention.
True.
The concept remains etched in the memory of the student, and the teacher doesn't have to prompt. You immediately relate a thing, traffic chaos, signals, something, a solution you are finding out. You would you will relate, yes, I was stuck up there, so I found it. In December, the AQI in Delhi becomes very bad. So what can be done? Everybody puts on the mask. What can be done? So nobody will prompt them to find solution. They
Exactly.
would
They
try,
are experiencing
because
it
ninth
their
class,
own. Right.
it is the 9th class children.
Yes.
So they would discuss, find out, है ना, and even explore, right?
True.
So the challenge now here comes is the time management, है ना?
Again.
और next साल आप उसे next साल में करेंगी, curriculum coverage जो आप कर रहे हैं, जो जितना आपको पढ़ाना है, जितना chunk of the syllabus जो है आपको एक limited time में करना है, तो उस इंक्वायरी को बैलेंस करने की कोशिश करें, क्योंकि जब प्रश्न आएंगे तो प्रश्न आते चले जाएंगे, है ना? सो दैट बैलेंस द टीचर हैज टू मेंटेन. ओके, ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट आंसर्स टू मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चंस in the stipulated time. That is where the teacher has to strike the balance.
So ma'am, we also don't need to forget about the socio-emotional learning, right? So as we have recently celebrated World Mental Health Day, so what we can go upon the same, and what factors could be effect for the action research plan for socio-emotional?
बहुत अच्छी बात पूछ ली शिवानी आपने.
This is very important, ma'am.
This is
actually.
very important.
Yes.
एग्जाम स्ट्रेस, जिसके लिए हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री परीक्षा पे चर्चा भी आयोजित करते हैं,
बिल्कुल,
जिसे कम करने के लिए. श्रिंकिंग जॉब मार्केट, कंपटीशन एंजाइटी, ओके, सोशल मीडिया प्रेशर्स.
Yes.
मेरी पोस्ट पे कितने लाइक आए, ठीक है, व्हाट इज माई इमेज ऑन द सोशल मीडिया,
एग्जैक्टली,
ये भी बच्चों के प्रेशर्स बहुत होते हैं. देन द काउंसलर स्टूडेंट रेशियो इज इनएडिक्वेट, राइट. सो प्रॉब्लम क्या होंगी, रिमोट एरियाज में प्रॉब्लम होती है आइसोलेशन की, बहुत सारी माइग्रेशन रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं. मेंटल हेल्थ एक ऐसा एरिया है जो कि जिसके बारे में लोग खुलेआम बात करने में बड़ा गुरेज करते हैं. पीपल डोंट वांट टू टॉक अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ, इज अ टैबू. उसके बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं खुल के कि अरे भाई हम किसी की मेंटल हेल्थ के बारे में बोलेंगे, दिस पर्सन इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम सम एलिमेंट लाइक दिस, तो वो मुझे पागल कहेंगे.
and the people will judge us. and ये क्वेश्चन ऑल द टाइम लोगों के मन में आता है कि हम शेयर भी करें तो लोग हमें जज ना करें. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन,
एग्जैक्टली. सो एंड काउंसलिंग सर्विसेज भी इतनी नहीं है. सबसे पहले तो people don't know that they are suffering from some problem. हालांकि बच्चा, छोटा बच्चा कहता है मुझे टेंशन हो गया, मुझे डिप्रेशन हो गया, लेकिन उन्हें पता नहीं होता कि डिप्रेशन क्या होता है और टेंशन क्या होता है, एंजाइटी क्या होती है, उसे कंट्रोल कैसे करना है. तो बात जब एक्शन रिसर्च के परिप्रेक्ष्य में करी जा रही है तो आइसोलेशन, और काउंसलर्स की संख्या बहुत कम है. ट्रेन्ड काउंसलर्स जो इस प्रॉब्लम को समझकर उसको ठीक तरीके से संभाल सकें, इनकी संख्या बहुत ज़्यादा कम.
एंड शरद मैम, यू नो व्हाट, ये हमें भी सोचना चाहिए कि मोस्ट ऑफ द पेरेंट्स जो होते हैं वो भी अपने बच्चों की मेंटल हेल्थ पर कहीं ना कहीं ध्यान नहीं दे पाते हैं एंड सीरियस नहीं ले पाते हैं.
नहीं, वो समझ नहीं होती है. जब पता चलता है कि कहीं कुछ परेशानी है या बच्चा परेशान है, या तो इतने व्यस्त होते हैं कि उन्हें देखने का समय नहीं मिल पाता, और जब पता चलता है कि कोई समस्या है तो उस समस्या को सबसे पहली तो स्टेज होती है डिनायल की, कि ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, ये मेरे बच्चे को हो नहीं सकता. फिर उसे छुपाने का प्रयास करते हैं. एंड व्हेन द सिचुएशन इज ब्लोन आउट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शन, देन दे सीक फॉर प्रोफेशनल हेल्प. तो ये तो हुई पेरेंट्स की बात. पर हम एक्शन रिसर्च के, ये तो शायद मेंटल हेल्थ हमारे NCERT में मनोदर्पण मंत्रालय के साथ में मनोदर्पण एक सेल है जिसमें लगातार कोशिश करी जाती हैं. शोज, टॉक शोज भी होते हैं, हेल्पलाइंस भी होती हैं, और ये साल भर चलने वाली प्रक्रिया है. तो हम बात करते हैं जब एक्शन रिसर्च प्लान हम कर सकते हैं. हाउ इफेक्टिव आर पीयर सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स, इसके बारे में पीयर सपोर्ट ग्रुप्स बनते हैं, मदद कितने इफेक्टिव हो सकते हैं, और स्टूडेंट को वेलबींग एम्बेसडर्स बनाकर क्या प्रभाव हो सकता है. ये प्रक्रिया भी कई जगह की जा रही है. तो इसीलिए मैंने बताया कि कुछ स्टूडेंट्स को वेलबींग के एम्बेसडर्स बनाकर यदि इस प्रक्रिया को आगे ले जाया जाए तो क्या इस पर एक्शन रिसर्च की जा सकती है कि फर्स्ट लाइन इंटरवेंशन, जो पहले लेवल पे इंटरवेंशन दिए जाते हैं, पहचानना, उन्हें बताना और उन्हें उस सोर्स तक ले जाना जहाँ पर उनका सॉल्यूशन या कोई एक्सपर्ट काउंसलर बता पाए. तो हाउ यूजफुल आर दिस फर्स्ट लाइन इंटरवेंशंस. दूसरी बात, योग, मेडिटेशन, कम्युनिटी रिचुअल्स लाइक विजिटिंग अ प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप, क्या ये इंडिजिनस प्रैक्टिसेस सोशो इमोशनल वेलबींग के करिकुलम में इंटीग्रेट की जा सकती हैं? यदि की जा सकती हैं तो इनका क्या प्रभाव होगा? प्रभाव आप देखकर तभी आप प्रस्तावित करेंगे अपनी एक्शन रिसर्च के बेस पर कि क्या हम कर सकते हैं. क्या एक बार सिटिंग, गोइंग बिफोर अ रिलीजियस प्लेस एंड पुटिंग, बाउइंग योर हेड डाउन helps in that? Whether it helps or not, you have to find out. So what you have to do is, can these practices, yoga, meditation, community rituals be integrated into SC mental health and well-being curriculum? Okay, and then this is very important, what are the early warning signs which the teachers must look for if the parents are not capable to see? Then what are the early warning signs which should be looked for if you want to, if a student is at risk? Some students are at risk, they may not have mental disorders or they may not have issues, but they might be at risk. So what should they do to find at risk students? This could make a very good case of action research for the teachers.
Okay, So ma'am, is there anything regarding of what we are going to know for our viewers, and is there anything you want to tell to our viewers regarding this?
Yes, it could be, this is something which has to be taken seriously,
Yes.
because ultimately the performance of the student, however good a student is, and even the mental health of the teachers also, I would say that at times with lot of workload, the magnitude of the workload, we also feel distressed, we also feel under pressure. So what are the like how it works, what works and where it works. For some, yoga helps, for some meditation helps, for some just switching off with everything helps, for somebody digital detox helps, for somebody keeping quiet helps. So what helps whom? So action research is very specific. I cannot give a general solution for all this.
Okay. So ma'am, I have seen that you have also mentioned the overcoming barriers regarding the 3 codes you have mentioned in this slide. So we would also like to discuss on the same, so that our students, our teachers can also make themselves confident and inspire.
Yes. So this scenario which I have taken is of a diet, right?
Okay.
Then a diet supervisor, that she sees that the student are writing beautiful lesson plans. Change this please.
Yes.
This is scenario to bring this. This one. So the diet supervisor teacher sees that the children are writing beautiful lesson plan. Next. They are writing beautiful lesson plans, but when it comes to classroom management, when they go for a practice teaching, the problem is that they cannot manage the class. Madam ye bata dijiye, madam ye kar dijiye. The classroom is in chaos. So the teacher, this makes an interesting case for action research.
Okay.
Now it could be, how could the teacher go about it is, it could have a video recording of the classroom teaching. The student teacher record themselves. The teachers who are going for the classroom practice, they can record themselves and see that what went wrong and where. Then these could be discussed in the classroom and analyzed together by the friends, like we do simulated teaching, micro teaching also. But nowadays we can click videos, we can discuss, and then peer observation. That is, we normally do it during our internships also. This could be done like they sit together, they observe each other, find out what went wrong, what went right. We can pair teachers. This gives better prepared teachers during teaching practice, who will conduct their own action research and find out how the transformation can be done, because this is during the teacher preparation when they go for teaching practice. I would also like to bring out, Shivani, a case of rural innovation. There are so many success stories. If I start sharing, it would be I would be very happy to share at some other time, but this summit I would like to say. A remote village in Jharkhand, you know, unreliable electricity, erratic power supply, children feel left behind. They cannot use the digital resources. They do not have access to edtech things, right? So here what can be tapped is community resources. Teachers, that makes an excellent study, action research study, that how our community resources, people, the elders sitting and telling them, soldier coming on holidays, discussing them about how he does his duty in the remote areas, very difficult areas, or say for example the soldier has come from Siachen, sitting with the villagers. Now how community resources, a person of repute, a person who has lived that experience, a local artisan or farmer or a storyteller can tell something that can motivate them, and that can be brought into the classroom also as a part of action research. Where the digital devices fail, human connection works. Where the internet connection fails, I would always say the human connection works wonders. And then nature based learning, taking them to a place, taking them to a garden, taking them to a sanctuary, whatever is feasible. School surroundings, even green school surroundings, can turn into a lively and vibrant classroom you could take up these resources and peer teaching resources also. So I would say that innovative teaching does not require expensive resources. It requires the pedagogical creativity of the teacher, out of the box thinking, and thinking in the context where they are placed.
Okay, so Sharad ma'am, as here we are left with a very limited time, so I would also like to ask you in the last, what can teachers do for creating educational transformation very easy for their students?
I
at
would
last?
say that they have to break the barriers. I don't have time. Action research transforms from what you are already doing.
Yes.
And it starts small. You start with one question, one class, 4 weeks. Okay. And think that you are not qualified. No, you are uniquely qualified. You are the best qualified person to do action research. You know your students well. The best way to somebody in the world knows is you, because you are their teacher. You are meeting them 8 hours every day, or you are with them for 2 or 3 periods. You know them better. And then one thing that comes to the mind is, what if I fail? Action isn't, it's not about success, it's not about getting a degree, it is not about proving your success to anyone. Failed interventions say that what did not work, it gives you a start to another action research project. I tried 5 ways, that I was unsuccessful in reaching a solution through these 5 ways. So I should not try these 5 ways. There must be some other way. So that is, every failure tells you that is how not to succeed. You have no way, and thus eliminate it. So there are 3 simple steps I will say to get started. That is, one challenge, identify one challenge at a time. That is one persistent problem which you take. Frame this as a question. That is, how can I find a solution to this? What happens if I do this? Okay, then try small intervention, bada sa nahi, 1 week ka, 2 week ka, 3 week ka, and then observe. See nahi, observe what happens. That's it. You have started the action research. And then when you are creating action research, you feel that you are a creative agent of educational transformation. I would say we have a very, very good policy, very futuristic policy, but only policy cannot transform the classroom. You teachers can do that. Okay, every time you question your practice ki main kya acha kar sakti hu, you are doing action research, you are initiating action research. Every time you try to do something new, you collect some evidence, you become a teacher researcher. And every time you refuse that this is how it is always done, सब ऐसे करते थे मैं भी ऐसा करूँगा, then सब ऐसे करते थे मैं भी ऐसे करता हूँ, तो you are not an educational transfer. But जब आप ये refuse करो कि सब ऐसा करते थे मैं ऐसा नहीं करूँगा, you become an action research, right? You don't need a permission to become excellent. You just need curiosity, courage, and commitment to your children. That is what matters. That is what matters.
And teachers can create a very big impact, big change to our society, right? They are the big change maker.
Definitely.
So here, I think, ma'am, we have covered the each and every topic of our today's topic that we have brought up. And is there anything you want to conclude to our viewers or anything else? At
I
last?
would say that I think yes. If you have some questions from the viewers, we can take them up. But I would say that it's such a simple activity of action research. Thoda sa plan, thoda sa extra effort. So let us together, I would say, I would try to end up with saying that together let us continue to question, to innovate. How can we do it better? To innovate. उन्हीं तरीकों से नए तरीके इजाद करने की कोशिश करें and create impactful learning experiences for every student. So I would say that keep the spirit of inquiry alive. However old you are, keep the spirit of learning forever burning.
Wonderful.
Keep the candle of learning forever burning.
Exactly, ma'am. So, well, as we are left with very limited time, so we have to wrap up this session for now. But before, I would also like to thank our guests. So, thank you so much, Professor Sharad Sinha, for joining us for this wonderful session.
Thank you, Shivani. It was wonderful talking to you and interacting.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again.
Namaste
Okay.
and Jai Hind.
Okay. So here I would also like to thank all our viewers who have joined us till last. And yes, आज हमने जो भी बात की हैं, जो भी चर्चा की है अपनी एक्शन रिसर्च को लेकर, आई मस्ट से कि जितने भी टीचर्स वेदर दे आर ऑफ केवी, स्पेशली जो हमारे केवी के टीचर्स के लिए था, आप सभी के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा रेलिवेंट एंड यूजफुल भी रहने वाला है. सो यहाँ पर जाने से पहले आपको ये भी बता देते हैं कि अब हमारे कौन से प्रोग्राम आने वाले हैं जिनके साथ आप जुड़कर देख सकते हैं. 2 से 3 आप हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे चैनल नंबर 11 पर फॉर द इकोनॉमिक रिफॉर्म सिंस 1991 एंड आफ्टर फॉलोड बाय 3 PM you can also join us on channel number 12 for the subject history and the topic will be kings, farmers and towns, early states and economies. Well, आपको फिर से मैं एक बार बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया करना चाहूँगी हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए एंड वंस अगैन नमस्कार.